What up, though, good people? It's your boy Chef EJ here with Jelani Catering. Tonight, we're introducing you to our family style series. We got a beautiful pot roast coming up, so stay tuned. Cheers! First thing we're gonna do is go ahead and sear off our roast beef. What we're gonna do right now, as you see, I'm just oiling my pan, getting it nice and coated, so that way our beef doesn't stick to the pan, of course. And as you see, our beef has already been seasoned, and it's also been marinated a little bit. I just seasoned it with our all-purpose Jelani house seasoning and just a little bit of oil. And as you see, the pan's nice and hot. We're going to go ahead and add our beef. As you see, it's trussed. Once again, I'll send you guys a video on how to do that later. And as I always say, golden rule, lay away so you don't burn yourself. Okay? So we're just going to get nice color on all four sides. Add our aromatics. Add our stock. And then we're going to go in the oven, okay? Now that we got all our sides seared, as you see, we got a nice color. We're going to go ahead, take our roast out of there, and add our aromatic vegetables. So we're just going to add our onions, of course, celery, carrot, and our smashed garlic, of course. Then these vegetables are going to go ahead and take off that fine that's already in the pan. And when I say fine, I mean the seared remains of the protein that are left in the pan after you finish searing. So these vegetables are going to remove some of that off of the pan. We're going to deglaze. And then, of course, add our liquid, and it's going to take all of that off. But right now, as you see, I'm just going ahead and mixing my vegetables up. I'm going to add just a touch of oil so those get coated and seasoned with our Jelani all-purpose house seasoning, of course. And go ahead and just give those a turn once again and get color on all sides. As you see now, we've got a nice color on our vegetables. On all of them, you see the onion, the garlic, the celery, and the carrot, of course. We're going to go ahead and deglaze our pan with a little bit of wine. Y'all know I'm usually on that 40 water, but tonight I'm on that 19 crimes. So this should be a crime for my food to taste and look this good, you know what I'm saying? So we just going to show y'all some love with the 19 crimes today, baby. Now that I say, we're going to let that go in there and reduce. And then once that reduced, we're going to add our stock. Now that that wine is reduced, we got our roast back in the pan. Our aromatic vegetables are in there. We're going to go ahead and add our beef stock. We're going to fill this almost to the top. And we're going to go ahead and add this in the oven. Now I know a lot of people might put a foil top over it or put it in a bigger pan so the roast is there. But what I like to do is make sure I rotate my roast every half an hour to make sure we get even cooking. So this roast is going to go in for about 4 hours, and as I said, every half hour I'm going to rotate to make sure I get even cooking, nice tenderness, and my skin is beautiful. So as I said, we're just going to go ahead and put this in the oven now. Now that our roast is in the oven, we're going to go ahead and work on our mashed potatoes. We got our diced potatoes here, as you can see. We're going to add it to our boiling hot water and let those simmer or cook for about 30-35 minutes or until they're tender with a knife and they just fall apart nicely. And then we're going to go ahead and mash them. Of course, put our cheese in there and, finish our potatoes. But that's how we go ahead and start. Now that our potatoes are nice and tender, it's time to go ahead and drain that liquid. And then we're going to go ahead and mash them and whip them into shape. Now that we've gone ahead and liquidated our revenues, and by that of course mean drained our potatoes, we're going to go ahead and mash them up. As you can see, our potatoes are sizzling a little bit because I like to keep my pan hot while I'm mashing. And as I always say, as long as your potatoes are nice and soft and tender, you don't need a food mill, you don't need a fancy masher. You can use a plastic one just like this, which is why I use this one for you guys, just to show you, it's not hard to go ahead and mash up and make good mashed potatoes from scratch, Now that our potatoes are nice and mashed, we're going to go ahead and add our cream to the mix. About a cup. And if we need to add more, we can always add more later. Remember, we can't take the cream out once we've already added it. Just keep that in mind. Less is more sometimes because, like I say, you can always add more. So we're going to go ahead and mix that up. I'm sorry, y'all. I splashed a little bit. That's the 19 crimes in me, in case y'all ain't know. And now we got a nice whip on our potatoes. We're going to go ahead and season, of course, with our Jelani all-purpose house. generous, of course, because these are potatoes. Go ahead and mix that up. Now we mix, we're going to go ahead and add our Gouda cheese to our mashed potatoes. Y'all know I love that Gouda cheese. I know some people like Parmesan and cheddar, but I'm telling you, man, there's something about that Gouda that do it for your boy right here over here at Jelani K. When that Gouda mash, when I whip it together like such, man, I'm telling you, it's magical. And y'all will see soon enough. Like I say, book us. You know what I'm saying? We'll get you together so you understand. And as you see, we got a beautiful Gouda whipped potato for you guys right there. Now we're gonna go ahead and work on our sauteed broccoli. We got a nice hot cast iron skillet here. We're just gonna add our broccoli to. See, no oil yet, no anything. Just broccoli in a hot pan. And as you can kind of hear, we got a slight sizzle. Now we're gonna go ahead and add our oil. And that lets us know our pan is nice and hot. After we add our oil, season, of course, Jelani's all-purpose house. Or I know some of you people at home, you know, like to use Lawry's or nature seasoning or whatever seasoning blend you like to use. Eventually, I'm sure it'll be Jelani's all-purpose house. But right now, you know, you can use what you got. This is a good all-purpose seasoning. Got that oil tossed up a little nicely. Add just a touch more. And go ahead and give it another stir. We're just going to let this saute. Now that our broccoli is sauteed down a little bit, we're going to hit it with about a cup of water, maybe quarter cup, half a cup. Let that reduce down. And what that water does is kind of help us tenderize our broccoli and also bring out that color and keep that nice crunch that we look for in our broccoli, because if you're anything like me, you hate soggy broccoli. And I honestly hate soggy broccoli with a passion. I just do. It should not be mushy or soggy. And what I'm going to do here now is just add a couple knobs of butter and let that butter coat with the water and broccoli. And our broccoli is done. Very simple dish, easy to execute. No matter your kitchen experience or anything like that. And as I said, we got nice color on our broccoli. Nice crunch still, and it's tender. And our butter's almost melted. So we're pretty much done here. Now, we're going to go ahead and check our roast. It's been about 4 hours. And look at that. This beautiful color all around the roast. Got a beautiful liquid. Yeah, that's what we're looking for right there. Beautiful roast. We're going to go ahead and take that out of our pan. Let that rest. We're going to go ahead and cut the trussing off, and then we're going to go ahead and thicken our liquid. To thicken our liquid, we're just going to go ahead, add a few knobs of butter, and by a few I mean a lot. It's about 6 to 8 knobs. We're going to go ahead and stir that in with our flour. And what we're going to do is we're not going to necessarily add the flour directly to the mixture, but we're going to add the pieces of butter out of the flour straight in here. And this is called a beurre marnier. And this is going to go ahead and help us thicken up our liquid without it being too lumpy from the flour. Just the fat from the butter kind of helps with that. I'm going to go ahead and add just a touch more butter. And you don't have to agitate this. As soon as it goes in the pan, you want to kind of let that butter kind of work and do its magic. And then you can go ahead and whisk it around after it's already started to melt it, which we're almost there here with our liquid. And as you can see, our liquid has thickened up nicely from our beurre marnier, which is just our butter and flour, and it's nice and smooth. It is not lumpy like it would be if we just added straight flour. It's a nice and smooth mixture that'll go great right over top of our roast. And once we go ahead and mix this up, our sauce is done, and we are ready to plate.
Yeah, all I wanna do is make it. Yeah, chandeliers in the lack. Uncle Snoopy taught me that. Like the weed, loop the track. Let me guide you to the scratch light. Yeah, all I wanna do is make it. Yeah, chandeliers in the lack. Uncle Snoopy taught me that. Like the weed, loop the track. Let me guide you to the scratch light. That's not even.
Now, I hope you enjoyed this first installment of the Family Style series. Now, I hope I wasn't a little too slurred for y'all. As y'all can see, I'm on this sweet red now, but earlier I was on that 19 crime, so please forgive me. But once again, I'm Chef EJ from Jelani Catering, and I hope you enjoyed. And as I always say, cheers.